Hello guys, welcome. Today we're going to talk about one of the most important tools in cybersecurity and web pen testing, okay? Named Burp Suite. Burp Suite is a web application. Let's go open it in the meantime while I explain it. Burp Suite, okay, this one. Okay, Burp Suite is a web application security testing platform created by Portsweeter. It allows security professionals, ethical hackers, developers, and it helps us analyze, intercept, modify, and test web traffic between the browser and the server, okay? So this is the limited edition, community edition they call it. So it creates a temporary project in memory. So after you close it, everything is gone because it's not the pro version. So, but it's good enough, okay? So you play next, press next. So by default, okay, start, and it will start. And you will see Burp interface. Okay, now in simple words, Burp Suite let us see what really happens behind the scenes when we browse a website. I mean, every click, login, request, cookie, headers, and hold on for a second. And response can be inspected and manipulated. So everything can be, analyzed, and we can manipulate stuff. So over here, I'm starting. This is the interface of Burp. Okay, see, Burp. Now this is the dashboard. So now I was telling you that pretty much Burp let us see every click, every login, request, cookie, headers. Okay, and response can be inspected and manipulated. So in other words, that's very powerful and dangerous in the right hands, right? So what happens is normally when we open a website. So let me open Firefox. Okay. I'm gonna teach you first how to configure this, how to configure Burp Suite, and then I continue. So to configure Burp Suite, for example, I want to see my, okay, let me go over here so we can have a clear idea. So if we, remember we did a service scan, if we do cat serve scan.txt, for example, it gives us, let's see, we're gonna do, it gives us the vulnerability, but I want to see ports instead. So we have port scan over here. So cat port scan over here. And it gives us which ports are open, right? So as you can see, we have port 80 open, which is HTTP. HTTP and HTTPS is for navigation, is what connects in the internet, okay? So let me show you what I mean. So we know that this IP is my Metasploitable 192.168.100.18, right? So if I go over here and I write 192 and I press enter, I'll go to Metasploitable like that. We can get in here or in here. You can even do like this, and you can do that 80 port 80 and it will give us the same result, okay? So this is Metasploitable, okay? So if you do, for example, expect view page source, for example, like that, it gives us, it's a simple page, but it gives us an idea what it talks about. It has different panels where we're going to be working on. This is vulnerable web, okay? So we're going to be going and do our pen testing. This is our lab, okay? So we can work on. So now let's go over here, for example. See, this means then vulnerable web app, TVWA. Now, if I go to Burp Suite over here, what Burp Suite does, so if we go to proxy, for example, and we press, okay, before I was telling you that we need to set up the, so I have it configured like this, okay, 127.0.0.1 port 88, okay, so that's the default port. So if you go to Metasploitable over here, and you go to, you want to configure, okay, you have to go to settings, then in settings, this is for Firefox, okay, then in settings, you go all the way down, you're going to see network settings, okay, then you press network settings, and over here, as you can see, this is what you call manual proxy configuration. So you press over here 127.0.0.1 and port 8080, and then you put it like this, check to. Even though to this you might have to download, just press, okay. I'm not going to go into it because I don't know the right terminology of that. And then you just press OK, and so on. So I already have it set up. So everything that goes through is configured to get intercepted. So if I press on, see, and I come over here, let me close settings, okay. So this, if I do this, for example, you will notice it got intercepted. So intercepted, and as you can see, it's like if it was hanging, right? Because this is what this tool does. So I'm gonna give you a brief explanation what it does, but I just wanted to show you how you can configure the Firefox. So what Burp Suite does, normally when you open a website, your browser talk directly to the server, right? With Burp Suite, what you do is with Burp Suite we place ourselves in the middle. So the flow becomes Burp Suite because the flow becomes the browser, okay? Like if you want to go and see, like me, I was trying to see this, right? So over here, the browser. So over here, I want to get into this. I refresh, so this page comes out again. But since I have intercept on, I intercepted this request, okay? And I can either drop it or I can forward. So let's say I do, okay? Let's say we want to drop it, okay? If you say drop, it will be error over here. You see? So if we refresh again, you will notice it keeps like that. So if we let it go through, and we say pass forward, and we come over here, you will notice the page again. Okay, nice and neat. Okay, because we intercept, but like I said, we can. So Burp Suite, what it does, it talks so the browser talks directly to the server, right? With Burp Suite, we place ourselves in the middle, so the flow becomes the browser, and then as we intercept with Burp Suite, and then it goes to the server. Then the server sends back, and Burp Suite intercepts it, and then it goes to the browser like that. This is called man in the middle proxy for legal and ethical testing. Okay. So Burp let us intercept requests, modify parameters, analyze cookies, discover vulnerabilities, replay attacks, test authentication, explore APIs, find security misconfiguration. Basically, Burp let us think like an attacker, but act like a defender. Okay, so over here we can do a lot. So let's say I want to get into this. So let me put this for example. Admin. Over here will tell you that it's admin and password. But let's say let's put admin just to go through. And intercepted. See, as you can see, intercepted that. And you can see that over here it says that user is admin and password is admin. I haven't forwarded yet. I can even drop it, I say, or I can forward. But it tells you over here that it's a post request to then vulnerable web app / login PHP to the host, which will be this could be a domain, any website, the user agent that we're using, and everything. Okay, it tells you, even tells you the cookie security and everything. Okay, now so why Burp Suite is important. Most modern attacks happen through web applications, right? Like banks, stores, social networks, dashboards, APIs. All of them communicate through HTTP and HTTPS over here. HTTP is not encrypted. HTTPS is encrypted. So the information goes through, but it's encrypted. Okay, as we talked about in fewer lessons. Okay, now Burp Suite is important because it helps find vulnerabilities before attackers do. It protects companies and users. It trains pen testers realistically. It simulates real-world attacks. It improves security developments. So in other words, if you know Burp, you're not guessing, my brother. You are not guessing. You're seeing the truth of the traffic, right? We can see over here what. So if we pass it forward, okay, it will tell us over here. Sometimes you have to press twice because like that, or 3 times depending. As you can see, say login failed because it's not the correct login, right? So that's why Burp is used by ethical hackers, security researchers, bug bounty hunters, SOC analysis, developers, pen testers, and obviously by attackers. Of course, right? If it's good, it gotta be the other side too, right? Light and dark, you know how that goes. So in cyberspace, Burp is almost a standard language, okay? Burp Suite community is limited edition. Okay, Burp has different versions. We are using, like I said, the limited, but it's free and perfect for learning. With community, we can get, for example, we can get proxy, repeater, intruder, we can get intruder too over here, decoder, okay, decoder, target, we can get target, and logger, okay. Now, what we don't get in this version is automatic scanning or scanner, high-speed brute force. So when you do, for example, you do intruder, you use that to automate, and it's quicker, okay. And we don't get advanced automation, okay. So, but for learning, community edition is more than enough to become dangerous, brother. Danger in the right way, right, in a good way. So core parts of Burp Suite will be like proxy, right? I'm gonna give you an explanation what each thing does, but we're not gonna go over each segment over here or each module because this tool itself is you can create a whole course on it. But we're gonna go through a few of them, especially in practice, so you can see how it works. But I'm gonna give you a description of what each does. For example, proxy over here. The proxy is the heart of the Burp, okay? It captures traffic between browser and server, like I show you. When intercept is on, this one. Burp pauses the request. You can inspect it before it reaches the server. Okay, you can see methods like get and post, like over here. Like let's make it so you can see. Let's make another. Let's make it like that, just to see if that's a request. See, and if you go over here, it tells you admin. Okay, and so Burp. So basically, like I say, it captures traffic. When intercept is on, Burp pauses the request. You can inspect it before it reaches the server. So you can see method. Okay, like get over here, show you, and post like that. This is a post request. So let's say if you do control or, for example, control or, we send it to repeater, control or, right here, control or. You see it changes color. So if we go over here and if I change request, let's say I say get, you will notice this changes, okay? The response, request and response. So let's say you do post again, this like that, and we send. You see, it's a 302 file. So that here is where you do a lot of testing. I'm gonna go through this, but first let me go to step by step on how each work. So you can see, like I said, get / post, URLs, headers, cookies. As you can see, we can see headers, cookies, parameters, tokens. Okay, we can see all the good stuff with proxy. You can modify values and forward them. Okay, this is how attackers test: login bypass, parameter manipulations, session hijacking, input tampering. So in other words, brother, proxy equals traffic control tower. Okay, it controls what goes out or comes in. So now let's check target. What target does? So you can get a brief explanation over here. It maps, okay, domains. So target shows the structure of the application. It maps domain, endpoints, parameters, files, APIs. So if I go over here, see, you will see that, okay? You will see that, okay? So this helps us understand what pages exist, what APIs are running, where inputs leave. So target equals to recon dashboard, okay? Now what repeater does, repeater over here, let's go to repeater. So repeater let us replay requests manually. You check a request and send it again and again. And you will say, why? Okay, so to test, you can test SQL injection, authentication, IDRs, headers, tokens, API logic, because you change value and absorb responses, okay? Like I was showing you just a minute ago how if we do changes, this changes, okay? So in other words, repeater equals attack laboratory, brother. So let's go to the next one. It will be intruder, what intruder does in community, okay? Community is limited. So intruder automates attacks, okay? You can select, let me see if I can do you So we know an example. So we know that over here, this page, it says over here, it says that login is admin and password. Okay, we know that, right? So let's go over here, so you can get an example. So we are proxy. That proxy have intercepted this that we did with this over here. So right click and we send it to intruder, for example. So intruder over here, so you can see intruder. And now over here, what you do is we're gonna see snippet attacks, different attacks. Okay, so insert each payload into each position one at a time using a single payload set. So we do that. Okay, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to close this, and what we're gonna do over here, we're gonna go into username over here, so we can, and then we add this $, and then when you finish over here, okay, password. This is the password. This is the admin. Okay, let me do a clean one because this one I don't like. It's too many numbers. Get confused. So let me close this. No. Let's do another. So let me do this. Let me drop this first. So we go to proxy over here. Let me drop that because we don't want it, right? So let's recharge it again. This tool, which it was. Okay. So we can start clean, fresh and clean, so you can get that example I'm trying to teach you over here. So let's you can do 1 forward, you can do 4 rows, so you don't have to do one at a time. Boom. So if you go, it will be. So let's put, for example, admin like that, and we do another admin like this on the password. We do admin like that. Okay, and we forward. Okay, we send it, but since it's on proxy intercepted, right? Like I said over here. So admin. Okay. So what we do, we right click and we send it to, for example, repeater. This is a limited edition, so it doesn't have all the automations, but I'm just going to show you how it goes. So over here, what we do is we tell them, okay, we're going to do a sniper attack. Okay, we select this one, and then manually we tell them, okay, you got to do a force attack. Okay. So you're going to try different password with different user identification. So we tell them over here, we add this $, and over here too, we add this $, and then where it says password before admin, also we add this $, and when it finishes, we also add $. What we telling him, whatever parameters I'm gonna put manually, you do changes over here. This is the payload area. They call it payload area. So, okay, payload over here. So we got this, okay, and we're gonna do manually. We're gonna add, for example, admin, root, password, admin 123, administrator, Michael, just in case it has a user like that, and so on. So now that you have this, you just do a start attack, and the attack will be. It tells you it's a community edition, so you just say okay. But as you can see over here, if you go over here, it tells you that it's trying each one. So he's trying admin, password is admin. He's trying different stuff until he finds it. Okay. Okay. Now that you learn what this does, let me close this and continue with the course. Okay. So you can have an idea. So let me close this over here. Save attack. Now this. Okay. Now you got a better understanding. So that's what intruder does. But in the professional version is obviously is that nice. So you select positions and send. So that's what intruder does. Okay. You select position and send payloads. Okay. So in community edition is a slower but powerful tool, right? You just seen it. And if you come over here to proxy and you send this, for example, and you go see the page, it will show you, okay, the different because that's what he did. He tried and then he tried to log in with whatever parameters you gave him. Okay, I didn't let it finish, I think. Anyway, you got the point, right? So now, what it does, you can test password guessing, parameters, fuzzing, token testing, input validation. So intruder, okay, intruder equals to payload counter, brother. So what? Now let's check another one of this. So what? For example, decoder. Now, what decoder does, decoder converts data, okay? It can decode, like base 64, you're encoding, hex, binary, ASCII, and so on. So attackers often hide payloads, and decoder lets you read them, okay? Decoder equals to translator of the web, okay? Now, comparator that is here, comparator finds difference between request and response, as you can see over here. You can compare headers, tokens, responses, sessions. It helps spot out changes, logic flows, token issue. Comparator equals spot that difference too, okay? Now, logger shows history. As you can see, logger shows history. You can track everything that happened. Okay, it helps debug attack, analyze sections, follow flows, and so on. Okay, you can check and analyze. Okay, and so on. So logger equals security camera of Burp, brother. Now, real world use. In the real world, Burp is used to test login systems, audit APIs, bug bounty hunting, pen testing companies, secure applications, discover misconfigurations. Every serious pen tester uses Burp or something similar. Okay, knowing Burp is like knowing how to drive in cybersecurity. Without it, it's like you're just walking. With it, you're racing, bro. You're going high. Okay, so Burp is not about hacking. It's about understanding communications. If you control traffic, you control security. So Burp teaches you all that: how browsers talk, how servers respond, how attackers think, and how defenses fail. And once you see traffic clearly, you never browse the same again. So as you see in this section, we are learning how Burp Suite works step by step, not to break systems, but to build them safer ones. Okay, if you understand Burp, you understand the language of the web. And in cybersecurity, that is indeed power. Okay. So we are intercepting, not just guessing. Now, let me show you what an example, what I mean by this. Let me give you a true example of how this works. So for example, let me clear this. Clear. So okay, now let me show you what an attacker can do when he's already when he uses this tool, or even a pen tester to analyze a website to do security. Okay, so let's go admin. So no, did it wrong. So this is admin, and then admin over here, and then well, obviously we intercepted as I was mentioning before. Now, oh. And by the way, it's not admin; it's admin and password, right? So yeah, I forgot that. So let me do it again. And the reason I don't take off the mistake is so you can see that how it is in real time, right? How you gotta be thinking, how you gotta find ways to do it. So we do admin, and then we know it's password, and it will open. Now this is the this is how it will go through. So if we forward, it will let us in because we inside the application now. That's the user and the password. Okay. So welcome to them vulnerable web app. This is for testing, brothers. For testing, for doing your labs. This is what you do so you don't get in problems hacking other people. But pretty much is the same, except that you do it in a controlled environment. Okay. You do it in the lab, like I told you. Like over here, like we mentioned that this is a Metasploitable. Okay. And as you can see, I have it in the laboratory. So I'm gonna teach you how these tools can be very, very good, and how when something is not really configured, it gives you a problem. So okay, welcome. Today we're going to demonstrate how an insecure file upload functionality can lead to full remote command execution on a web server. This is performed inside a control lab using the web app like this one. The goal is not just exploitation, but understanding how improper validation can completely compromise the system. I will show you how with Burp Suite we can intercept and modify requests. So we're going to be working with it too. But for the moment, let's go. I'm gonna go through the process. So first step should be understanding the vulnerability, right? So in many web applications, users are allowed to upload images. So we're gonna do image upload over here. But before we do that, we're gonna put it first on low. So, and this is great because you can go and you work your way up. Like you can do low for not so complicated attacks, so the medium, the high, and so on, right? So we put it on low, so I can proof of concept, so I can show you. So okay, now like I was saying, in many web application, users are allowed to upload images. Okay, allowed. So we're going to go to uploads. We're going to use this as if it was a website that you can upload any type of images, like JPEG, MPJ, like video, and so on, right? MP4 and so on. So you can upload stuff like that. Now, if the application does not properly validate the upload file, an attacker can upload malicious code and disguise it as an image. If the server executes that file, it results in a remote command execution, also known as RCE. Okay. So now RCE means the attacker can execute system commands directly on the server. Okay. Now the first thing to do is before we upload something, we got to create it. So we go to the terminal. Let me see. I already got this file created. So I got this file named test.jpg. Okay. Since we're on low, I'm gonna change the name to move to test.jpg like that to test.php to prove what's the difference in low, medium, and high. Okay. So we change the name. So if we do ls again to see, the name is test.php. Now, as you know, .php, .py, .t, .exe, they are executable files, okay? So if you upload an executable file into a server, you will see what happened, and I'm going to show you. So if we cut the file, test.php, we got a same shell like that. So this is the file we created. So you can go to nano, you say nano. I already showed you this, but so you can know. So you can know nano.tst.php because that's the name. So I'm gonna open it. And you will notice that I already have this. So you can open it, create it, and then you say Control O to save it, Enter, and Control X. So now you already have the file. Okay, this is the file we're gonna use to upload it. So this is a simple PHP web shell. They call it web shell. So if you see over here where it says PHP, PHP is the block. Okay, PHP is the block. So the system function over here, this system function with the what you call this parentheses, the system function execute operating system commands, and the $get, for example, CMD parameter allow us to pass commands through the browser URL. Okay, so whatever the command we send in the URL will execute on the server. Okay, tell me this is extremely dangerous if upload is successful in any website because it could be easily taken over. So let's see what happened. Okay, now let's go to uploads, for example. Now we're gonna upload it. So we browse first. We pick the file. So it was test.php. Open. And we upload. Let's see what it shows us. As you can see, we can see the content here. Okay, this is how attackers rename malicious files as any extension they want. So let's pass it through first, so you can see how it works on low, and let's see if it was successful. As you can see, this is successfully uploaded. Hackable upload.txt. Now, if you copy this, okay, because this is where it is saved. Okay, it says is over here 2 directories behind, so you can come over here. So this directory and this directory, you don't want it, so we take them off and we copy this. Now if we do, and I say cmd, and I say ID, for example, let me see, it's telling me that the user ID is www. So, and if you can say free worker in directory, for example, it says that is in /var /www/db hackable uploads. So there you got it. You already got a remote execution in this system. Okay, check it out. And this is on low. Now let's do it on. Let's do it again, but in high, in medium, so you can check how attackers intercept and change stuff, change extensions. Like for example, so we are here. Okay, let me go in. We were in the part that we change security. So in security, we go again. Now we put medium security. I should have turned it off, but I guess that's how you gotta learn. You gotta play with it, play it. So we submit on medium security forward. Now we go to uploads again, and now we try on a medium. Okay. Now if you go over here and we want to upload the file, it shouldn't go through because the security is more strict. So if we test PHP and we upload it, it should say that it cannot because the security is medium now. As you can see, your image was not uploaded. Okay. Now how with Burp we can bypass this? First of all, okay. So it's up now. So it wasn't uploaded. So let's do it again. But first, what we gotta do is we gotta change the name. So now we gotta do move test.php, and we're gonna rename it to test.jpg, like JPG, okay? And we do ls. We have renamed it to test.jpg. So now if we go to, and now if we want to upload it again, so let's cancel this so we can start from here. So now if we browse, we find the file test.jpg like that, okay? And now if we upload it like that, we can intercept. And you can say it says content form data, it says test JPEG and content type image. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna change the name of test JPEG to test.php, and we forward. So it says test.php successful because we changed the extension. Okay, we changed the extension, so now we know where it is, right? So we copy this, and like it says 2 directories behind, so 1, 2, so it's here. So if we do, for example, again, we check and we do cmd and we do ID, it should tell us that is user. Okay. Now if we do, for example, framework in directory again, it tells us that it's here. So as you can see, that's how you can manipulate and change. So that's an easy way to get a backdoor into any server that is not well sanitized. Okay. Tell me that's not something very dangerous, very dangerous. So the attacker renames the malicious file as test.jpg, for example, and the goal is to trick the application to believing it is an image, but it's not an image. Okay. So as you can see, even though it has a JPEG extension, it contains a PHP code. So some application only checks the file extension, not the file content, which is the weakness we are exploring, right? Now let me do it let's do it in the high. How to bypass the high? Okay. How to bypass high security? How to bypass high security? We're gonna put it on high instead of medium. Like that. Let's submit to high. And as you can see, this is how attackers manipulate stuff, and they do magic with it, brother. They do magic with it. So now we have it on high. Now let's go to upload. Okay. Now upload. Now we see if we upload it again. Okay. Test. Okay. And we upload, but we intercepted. So what we do over here, as you can see in security, you gotta make sure file name and content type it matches. Okay. So because as you can see, we changed the file name and you gotta upload it. So in this case, what we're gonna do is we're gonna do, okay, that we're gonna do PHP dot. So it has a .jpeg, but it has it says test.php .jpeg. So the server will see it has extension JPEG, but we're gonna get not into this version, but in this version. Okay, in this version. So let's pass it forward. See if we can go through it. So as you can see, hackable was successfully uploaded. There we go. I think I had a problem. I didn't write something good, but I didn't know what it was. Okay. Either way, what we're trying to do is get, like I was saying, into this version and not with the .jpeg version. So in other words, as you can see, you can run different commands over here, different commands to execute. So let me see. Let me run another command. Let's say who am I, for example. Who am I? There you go. Like that. And this is on high, and it tells you, right? You can also bring work in directory. We can even create a more sophisticated backdoor. Okay. You know, when my shows current user, ls, it show you as list directory contents, print working directory. You know, it shows working directories. So at this stage, we have remote command execution through the browser. Isn't that some powerful shit? Now, upgrading a reverse shell, for example, executing one command at a time is limited, right? So a real attacker wants a fully interactive shell. So how he does that? Okay, I'm not sure how he does that. So he goes over here, okay, and he writes netcat, for example, dash, okay, listener verbose, so he can print it here on port 444. So we're gonna listen on the port, for example, and now on over here we're gonna run this command. Okay, we're gonna run the command equals to see netcat, for example, like that. We're gonna run netcat. The attacker machine. So you tell him netcat plus the attacker machine, okay, plus port 444 where we listen, and then over here you tell him that you want to execute /bin and /var, so you need that, okay. So if we pass it forward, for example, and as you can see, it's in high security, okay. Let's see if it goes through this command. It shouldn't be no problem. So if we go to where we listen over here. We say connect to the attacker IP, and this is my metasploitable. So I'll show you. Let me open another session so you can see is my IP. So let's say IPA, and as you can see, my IP is 192.168.100.35. Okay, so that's my IP. You have noticed. Okay, shit, I closed it out. I closed my console, my terminal. So let's do again. Let's run the command. So we listen, and then we go over here again, and we run this command. Okay, we pass forward. So as you can see that there it is. Okay, unknown, but we're already there. So if we do a pre-working directory, it says that we are /var/w hackable uploads. Okay, if we do ls, this is the file we've been uploading. Remember jpeg.php, and this is the files we have uploaded. Okay, so you can do from here on pretty much is game over. Okay, so this command I was telling you, the netcat command. This command tells the server to connect back to our machine on port 444 and execute /bin/bash. Okay, isn't that something? So we tell him through the browser, and the server just listens to what the commander is saying. So this command tells the server to connect back to us, okay, to our machine. So when this successful reverse shell is received, okay, as I have shown you over here, and you can run any command. You can run who am I again, and it tells you user data. You say your name -a, and it tells you Linux metasploitable, and so on, right? Shell, and it tells you everything. Now, what can now we have, like I said, direct access to the server, right? So now, what could an attacker do next? From here, an attacker could begin post exploitation, they call it. So he can run either cat, for example, like that, /etc/password, like that, and he can start seeing information of the users and okay, groups and everything. So in other words, they could attempt privilege escalation, search for credentials, or move laterally inside the network. They can either do sudo help -l, for example, like that. So I only have one giga of memory in this machine. So some it takes longer. So this is why file upload vulnerabilities are critical, brothers. Criticals. Now, on the defensive perspective, now let's shift to defensive, right? How do we prevent this? Because in other words, you can from here you can pretty much you have control of this server, because you can do, like I said, privilege escalation. You can do a lot of stuff. Like you can do anything you want, bro. Anything you want. But I'm gonna stop over here. So I'm gonna close this, and I just show you how you can take control of the system. And pretty much the server becomes yours, because from there it's just one step from hell. So how do we prevent this? Okay, we validate file content, not just extension. We rename file server side, store uploads outside the web root, for example. Disable dangerous PHP functions, restrict execution permissions in upload directories, for example. Use allow list instead of blacklist. Now, security is not about blocking hackers. We know that, right? It's about eliminating weak design decisions. So as you have noticed, a simple image with this tool, for example, can be powerful, right? With this tool can be powerful. Okay. A simple image upload features turn into a full server compromise. In cybersecurity, a small validation mistake creates massive attack surfaces. Okay, understanding how attacks work is how we learn to defend against them. Always test ethically. Always build security. Okay, if you, okay, maybe if you like this video, maybe later on after this course, I might create a video where I can show you how to take over the whole server completely, how to extract information from the database, how to take control. You can take snapshots, you can encrypt the files, upload files, download files, you can do anything, okay? But for a full penetrating test course, starting from the beginning, all the methodology, like from recon, information gathering to exploitation and post-exploitation, okay? And then how to clean up and how to do reports. We're going to go through that hopefully in the next course. But for now, that's all, brothers. So whatever you do in a safe environment so you don't get the problems. For the moment, that's all I got for you. One love.